So here's me revealing the system. But you can see, oh, they're trying to skew it. Every time I do that, they're trying to skew it. But you can see that guy, he's walking there with his head down, and he was walking directly towards the woman in the wheelchair. So maybe he was accused of being a dog predator. But, so that was one of the consequences. They were setting him up, and he walked along. So ew. So he could be an animal predator, and so he's walking, but he was looking. I guess I won't reveal how I suspect, but there's certain things that they do to me that I see in other people, and so I know that they're trying to, like, for me, it's a con, right? It's like this girl, she falsely accused me of rape after we had sex. We had sex one at a time, right? And I had sex with 3 women within 24 hours, right? And then the third one accused me of rape just because my sister didn't want me to have too many women coming over, and I didn't want my nieces to see her in the morning, so I asked her to leave. So just because of that, she accused me for fucking rape, right? So, king of the world, right? If she didn't hijack my body, blah blah blah, that would be one thing, and she wouldn't be executed. But since I'm going to be king of the world, anybody that accuses somebody of rape, that's 25 years in prison. 25 years in prison. If they are proven innocent, or you don't show up or whatever, that's 25 years in prison. Because you destroy someone's life, you murder their character. So they just made me cough. It's probably the one on the left. But those two women there, they were different ethnicities. But the one on the right has lots of style, and her friend, unfortunately, isn't keeping up with her friend's style. So it diminishes. I guess it'd almost be like if your friend's wearing a team jersey and like you're wearing an Armani suit, right? Like you're not gonna be meeting the same type, and you're trying to meet women, right? You're not gonna be meeting the same type of women, right? You're gonna be, one guy's gonna be in the D leagues and the other guy's gonna be in the A leagues, right? The VIP section. So don't let your wingmate or teammate water your style down. Positively suggest, hey, by the way, blah blah blah, or buy them if you got the money. Like here's two women that are comparable style. Look at that. They both they're together, and they're both synchronized with their style. So they complete each other, right? So yesterday I requested the system to spawn a red dress woman, and here you go. There she is. I did see one other one with a red dress, but that was the more noticeable. So yeah, I just resumed recording, and exasperating alcoholism and all those ending strategies of mine and alcohol poisoning tactics that they employ against mankind, if they do. All my maneuvers online are only if they do. So I'm just gonna play poker here and just think about life. See the cons all day long. The horn all day long. See the cons. I'm just claiming my spot. All I'm doing is, look, some hair's kind of, some of it was going like that. That's alright. I like that. I like that. Anyways, need less skin on my face and less wrinkles, laugh lines. But anyways, I am the king. That's why I'm sitting in my spot, because I'm the king. There it is. Victor. King Victor. King Victor. Seeing through all the cons. There's back to poker. So you might have heard me, I was forced to spit, so that's how they sell a con to bring my experience, since I was registered to not have a bad experience. basically not get ripped off. So I'll just put them on some hands, and it's a new app, so I'm just figuring it out. And after a long time cheats, I'm just playing with them, just toying with them.
People are not ready to for me to.
That doesn't give them a reason to cheat. That should make them want to try harder. But they won't. I gotta do the theatrical but they won't moves every once in a while. There we go, new chip leader. Let's see what they do. So I'm not really gonna. I had a poker channel. I put I played 159 videos or whatever, and so that was my poker channel. So this isn't really gonna be poker. I just happen to be playing poker when I'm doing this. So that being said, I'm not really gonna be giving too much poker advice, but I'm gonna put people on hands when the situation presents itself. So if anyways, if you want to let's check here. It's gonna make me exit the app again, unfortunately. Christian Meyer poker. Christian Meyer. There's all these cons, no thank you. I have 157 videos. 159, I guess, because the upload failed for the last one. So anyways, you can watch that channel under Christian Meyer. And then it's art, so I'm going to restart it, unregister, restore my attributes, then genuine poker experience. Show why I'm the best poker player, non-cheat in the world. The best one that doesn't have quantum computing in their brain are solvers. So I'm registering them. Those cowards. One thing, the playing game is skill where you're supposed to be able to ascertain what your opponent has by how they play. And so if they wanted to cheat, right? Cheat at chess, where you could transparently see. Don't cheat at a game of skill where you're pretending to be able to put people on cards and you don't have the skill set for it. Because, I seen them, the movie Rounders, like Matt Damon walked into the room and he could put guys on cards, right? So in my mind, people were that good, so I became that good with effort and practice. Millions of hands. By understanding poker psychology. Like, some opponents are women, some are men, and blah, 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 right? I just understand poker psychology. So I don't play women differently than I play men, or, people of any ethnicity different than what have you, right? I just play poker psychology. Math and human behavior, basically. Human compulsions. Risk. I try to give them unfavorable odds and they still call. They're naive, I guess. They're naive because they keep me poor, so I can't even invest in the stock market when I'd be making thousands and they'd be able to make millions or billions at that point, until I got to the point where I was making millions or billions, and then I'd be able to collect, right? So they would have a period of time where they would have been able to live in the high life, basically. Because I read Benjamin Graham. He was kind of the mentor for Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, I read one of his investing books as well. But one of the philosophies, I like Warren Buffett's philosophy of being a conservative investor, right? Like he doesn't speculate too much, which is good. But he does have old system con businesses, right, that are more than likely going to be obsolete. For fucking with the man that has the world at his command, and he's so fun to be around. No, that's it. I'll stop the creative flow. Play some poker. That being said, like a company, like any chocolate bar company, right? They manufacture candy companies to cause cavities and to help a dentist, right? So why would I want my citizens to have to go through the pain of dentistry? Right? It's when it's naturally occurring. It's one thing, right? How come animals, right? It's teeth. They're probably not as evolved as ours because we're the intelligent species on the planet, right? So if we don't see these occur, well, obviously they don't eat sugars and what have you, different human foods. But if you were to eat like just natural foods, right, you should get virtually zero cavities. You know, like your teeth are designed for an entire lifetime, right? Like evolution's not like, hey, you got dentistry. Like, why would it? God certainly wouldn't be like, hey, let's make them have teeth pain for a period of time, forever, because they're cavemen and they don't have dentistry. So for the rest of their life, or until they had the balls to take the tooth out themselves, the emergence of dentistry. So how often do cats and dogs basically get cavities? Like if we don't see these occurrences in pets, and we see it more likely, it's more occurring in people, in understanding that people manufacture stuff, it's almost certainly manufactured. And one thing almost certainly in this. Sorry. I guess I should pay attention. I haven't even been paying attention to this poker tournament. I've just been watching. So. Okay, so I did win a decent spot anyways. So after this, I'm gonna Google search the likelihood of, I'll do it now since I'm on the end, just before they can skew it. So they do. Since when? (1866). So they've been manufacturing Down syndrome since 1866. Because I've never seen a cat with Down syndrome myself, and I've seen lots of cats. I've never seen a cat other than maybe an amputee cat or what have you. I've never seen a cat or a hairless cat. I feel sorry for her. But it looks pathetic. Has all this excess skin. But one of the cool things I love about kittens is just the agility, and its entire life is all about fun and learning how to hunt for its reality. Right? Like, I forget the name of the cat, but one of my friends, one of my old roommates had a cat, and the cat caught a bird just to kind of show off for my roommate, which was kind of cool. And even though the cat had food, right, it specifically, maybe people did it on purpose, but it seemed as if the cat just like almost like a trophy for his owner, being like, hey, look what I could do. I could get my own food. which is pretty cool. So, second place, I didn't see if I even made any money. So I'll play the city ones here. Let's see. Oh, they stopped it, so it's no longer an option for me. Look, here it is. 100 mil, 40 mil. State. Well, they don't have my league. Galactic.
Maybe 2 hours to get
10 million. I wouldn't want to play at that one because I might develop skills that I wouldn't want to teach people. So I'll play in the town. So I'll play small ball. Even though I'm going to be playing against other professional opponents. With no solvers or artificial intelligence or switch to help them. Let's see how good you are, Pussy Willow. If you are offended by that, how offended are you? How frequently are you offended? How many Valhalla moves do you need to hear with the die slot to die metric? They orchestrate everything. Bom, bom, bom. New chip leader, okay, I see that as a fucking challenge. Just kidding. I let situations emerge, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I do kind of get impatient and want to stay active playing poker. But, you know, I kind of try to see a tendency and then try to wait for that situation to reemerge or see a pattern develop and then capitalize on it. In poker, it's all about exploitation, right? They try to get me to think exploitation as I looked at a gilf. I went to one grandma cannabis store, so they sell the geriatric ones every once in a while. A gilf is anybody that looks like they could be my mother. All time long. So they're trying to simulate some sort of arousal for, I guess, right here. Right there, that one that just went by. Here we go, here's some more talent. Well, I didn't get the camera time, but show some talent in the neighborhood. Some ethnic talent. from that Gone in 60 Seconds, I believe, scene where Giovanni Ribisi's like, he sees the beautiful woman in the car beside him, and he's like, he looks at her and he's like, she's so talented. That sign I've utilized once, and unfortunately I was married at the time, and I said it in front of my daughter of all people, and she knew exactly what I meant. She just got kind of pissed off at me, actually. She's like, this in between, like, oh dad, and then angry, right? But understood that I wasn't gonna leave her mom for her, basically. But she just realized that I complimented her, said that she was talented by being beautiful. But here we go, here's the town. Here's the backup plan. The hair. Oh. They make me now zoom into it, dude. So that's crazy. They could hack my phone where I was able to pan into. Because I tried to move to the left to see around the girl that was blocking. Again, all the evil people. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. So they only have 100 chips left. Four or six. He's gonna get lucky. He's gonna hit my 7. I got lucky there. I wasn't home for a call, but with Texas Hold'em, you do have to try to play unpredictable hands at times, right? So here we go. I'm leading, so he's gonna hit the 3, or we're chopping almost. We're chopping now. As soon as I seen the jack, it was 100% certain, even though the math wasn't, that I was gonna chop or lose. And that spit was to confirm the con. So I'm the chip leader pretty easily. Hopefully they're pros and I'm just emasculating them because they're listening to my thoughts, right? So fuck them. And like, but the funny thing is they're always focused on me. So instead of trying to learn from the videos I post and challenge themselves, they try to see what my thoughts are and try to cheat and then have AI software to make it so they're trying to basically take a shot, get a fucking 6-pack, rip body, rather than put in the fucking effort. It's like, no wonder I dominate you. They're mandroids that prey on the human race, so I can't wait to eradicate them without a trace. Just because they're out of product mankind, because even with their biology, they're a threat even in jail, right? So that means they can't be treated like regular prisoners, regular people, basically. They prey on the human race. Like they'll, if you slight them, they'll, like when I spit, they'll steal my penis size, or my girth, or my virility, right? Just because they think they can, right? And so far they've been able to, but I could be God incarnate, right? So I'm here to say, you're fucked over in the afterlife. Guaranteed. Like, you couldn't avoid being born. You can't avoid gravity if you fall from a building without technology, right? And I'll never develop technology. well, development technology would be equivalent to the heart paddle at the hospital, right? Like that's technology to avoid the afterlife, basically. You know, so you do avoid the gravity like by utilizing medicine and technology to prolong your life. But so far with Generation 1 biology, nobody's unequivocally stayed dead and returned for an extended period of time, like a month or so, and or lived forever, right? If not, the very first guy would have been, just like no superpower has ever lasted forever, right? If not, the very first superpower would have been in superpower forever, right? Because it's resolve of the people, right? So it's not the size of the dog, it's the size of the fight in the dog. So the size of the dog is just one, it's just me against evil in the world, and but the size of the fight in the dog is otherworldly. Because my dad raised me to be, you know, and he raised me to be a man, and you know, I admired strong, tough men, and learned from all ethnicities, all cultures, and wisdom, right? Wisdom is universal. It doesn't matter your skin tone, your socioeconomic level. The only thing with money is you're able to capitalize on things where a rich person could capitalize something that a poor person couldn't, right? That's all. Or as much, right? As much, right? Like, so I once doubled my stocks in 16 days. So whoever made a similar trade, I'm going to tax in the future. But so I only made a couple $100. So people probably made millions off my information, my intellectual property, or billions, right? They've utilized a strategy to make trillions of dollars in the stock market, and they think I don't know this. So I have to, like, these videos are for future people, mainly, that after I'm king of the world, right? So they can hear me fuck with them because they're evil, and I just want to lead and inspire. And I'd break out in song. Like once king of the world, if I heard a song that I liked and I knew, and there's going to be, once I'm king of the world, there's going to be a role model clause for everybody that's that inspires the young, basically. So like if you're a celebrity, basically, there's going to be a role model clause where everything could be taken away from you just as quick as the hype that prop you up, basically. So no sports contract would be guaranteed. Like it's going to be basically, you don't hit your girlfriend, and you're not a pedophile or a rapist, and you're not an attribute thief, and it's going to be pretty basic things. Should be slam dunk to never have to worry about it. You just inspire people to be pros. If you're a celebrity, right, you inspire people to be a pro, right, to work harder than the millions that wanted and aspired to be, but you overcame the odds, right? So how did you do that, right? And how marketable is how did you do that, right? So I used to read inspirational, I used to watch documentaries on people on biography channel, like and read and find out how these extraordinary people became extraordinary in an ordinary world, right? So they have a different mindset than every other person on the planet, right? It's manufactured mainly, but they still have some of these mindsets, right, to help them establish and do better than other people in the system, right? With the same opportunity. So you got to learn from champions and then stand on their shoulders and then become a better champion in any way you can, right? And it's one of those things, if you can't do great things, you do small things in a great way, right? So basically in the future, it's like there's going to be how personable you are and likable you are, and so whatever your job is, if it's at first it's going to be kind of conditioning the behavior and then kind of taking off the psychological reins, so to speak, and then see what is established natural behavior, what became natural behavior for people, like for how personable, right? Because if I'm telling you you're going to make more money, just by being a more likable person, right? Like just because there's gonna, and once I'm king of the world, the whole world's gonna know that your thoughts aren't private, right? So we need computers to privatize your thoughts. And I once my older sister, she got me to open up our Christmas gifts like before Christmas, and I regretted it as soon as I did it. It's like I just wrecked the surprise, right? Like I had to wait 2 months to get something that I wanted and what have you, right? And I wrecked the surprise, right? So at that point, like I realized I never wanted to snoop. I'm not a snooper. I'm not nosy, and so I'm gonna have artificial intelligence that is nosy, that is looking for certain parameters that most people. It's almost like in the spy movies where you see the laser guard, the laser field, or blah blah blah, right? But that's just for the burglars, right? For the regular people, it's not even present. You don't even have to worry about it because you don't rape people, you don't steal attributes. You're a morally good person, right? So you get rewarded for that. You're gonna make more money, right? So even now, say I can't, certain jobs I can't maybe pay you more for specifically for that particular job, but in the civilization grand scheme of things, I'm gonna be able to reward you some way, right? Because I own everything. So I'm gonna give you perks, like for instance, like I'm right at a coffee shop or whatever, random coffee shop. So just say it's a franchise, and I could be like, okay, so now the best person, the most personable person that, because once again, you're gonna have a computer in your brain that's gonna be like your AI coach, and so it's gonna tell you how you feel, and also get feedback, right? Like metadata to help enhance your personal experience in this what we call life, right? Like to make it so you have a better experience, but a coach to give you choice, right? Like for instance, like not playing poker or games of skill where whatever, right? That restricted. But if you're at the casino and at the slot machine, for instance, or before you sit down, maybe a reminder for casino, like at poker, right? You could have a reminder saying, for instance, you're historically you're a profitable player after 3 hours and 30 minutes. You know, in 10 minutes, you know, typically you walk away winner. Do you want to walk away? Blah blah blah, right? And if you walk away, then like so the most prudent thing to do would be to walk away at that point. So to take that advice from your AI coach, right? To walk away winner, right? So now the flip side of the coin is now just say you stayed for 6-7 hours. You tried riding it out and you got up to. You did get up, but you got greedy at one point, right? Like that's why the casinos, they want you to stay at the casino as long as possible because you're guaranteed to get the money back, right? That's why you need to play a game of skill like poker, because you're not playing against the casino, you're playing against the players, and you're giving the casino money, basically a rig, right? So without the rig, it's that and blackjack is slightly beatable, and with me it's beatable, but they wouldn't allow me to play blackjack because. You know, I guess I could count the cards probably effortlessly. Like this is watered down. I'm progressively getting drunk, and they administered who knows what to make me get more drunk throughout this night. But I was able to do Red Black, a game called Red Black, a drinking game where you have to flip over the card, right? And then I forget the exact rules, but you had a drink if you couldn't memorize. If it was red, black, black, red, black, red, right? So I did the whole deck, the whole 52 deck as I got progressively drunk, and this was watered down. And so that being said, blackjack, they wouldn't. With my full attributes, I'm too smart to be able to play blackjack. Unfortunately, watered down. I'm not gonna have like my brain is like a calculator, basically. The influence for quantum computing. My fast brain, but my watered down brain, you know, I can't. Well, they've restricted me, right? My entire life, they played a switch with it, right? So it's like a bicep that I haven't utilized the full muscle to myself because of technology. Basically, I can independently flex my abs, right? So I know I can, right? I can feel it. My brain basically trying to control it independently, but they're restricting it from being visibly shown. On like if I did it to my abs, then it showed you like I could do it with my brain, but it's not showing up in my abs because they're restricted with technology. So I know that the war's not over until I could do something like that, right? Until I see my abs independent. Like so, we got 6 abs, right? So for instance, so I can flex this one in a pattern that I want. Not too I haven't tried to develop the skill because they would. Develop technology to hinder it, right? So once I do have my natural attributes, I'm gonna put on a show, right? I'll put on maybe some sort of illuminated somehow, try to make on a shirt that this is how easy I can innovate, right? So this is why they keep me poor, but I'm gonna make a shirt that when I mentally flex the muscle, it'll illuminate which ab I'm controlling, right? So that's how easy it is for me to create. I see a problem and then instantly that's why I'm the smartest person that ever lived, and they keep me poor. I'm a trillionaire, right? On paper, right? So it's just a matter of and I posted the last video, and as soon as I called out companies, then all of a sudden my phone was taking pictures, and and I'm not streaming this live, right? So how is my phone aware of what I'm posting, right? Like, so several times, or you would hear my voice acoustically change as I said after, then I'd say the exact same word, where I walked into a store and then it's penis heavy. If I could tell people's penis heavy by my voice, but like this is my voice right now. So then I have video proof where my voice sounds so emasculated when I walk in the store or I make a phone call, right? And it's just penis heavy, and it's just pathetic, really. I just see it transparently through the system. I just resume recording. So imagine the primitive mindset that I'm 46, almost 47 years old. So imagine men being so emasculated by a guy that they're like, okay, he produces so much testosterone for a 46, 47-year-old man that we're emasculated, that we're gonna flood his brain with estrogen because of penis heavy, right? And they don't think I'm gonna be king, right? So I gotta execute treason, man. Everybody's gonna make me king, so I gotta get you. As long as you plan on living on Earth, I gotta execute you at some point. And I'm just hoping that somebody in your family also violated me, so I gotta execute them as well. And then grandkids, etc. I'm hoping you have as many family members in a way, without recruiting, but I'm hoping you have as many people that I could hurt as possible, right? Because you killed 7 of my family members, and you always try to slaughter the rest of my family, right, first. And my kids that I care about more than anything, right? My kids have evolutionary genes, so if I was God otherworldly and God incarnate, clearly I chose their biology over every other person that was born since that time, and I haven't had any evolutionary kids since then because it's not prudent to do so, right? Eventually, once I'm king of the world, over a period of an undetermined amount of time, because I can't tip my hand because people will sabotage it, right? Human saboteurs are sabotaging my genetic greatness and mankind's opportunity for me to lead them and to lead them and inspire, watch, spectate. And so I'm getting manipulated here. That's why I lost my train of thought. So the funny thing is, so I just resumed recording. So the funny thing is, so they're able to hack and blah 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 and pretend that I'm the panhandling, and I'm not like I couldn't invent as easily as I did that shirt, right? So they can pretend I'm blah blah blah, not smart, right? But that doesn't stop my DNA, my semen, from printing greatness every fucking time and they're going to be great without technology. So it costs trillions of dollars now, right? It takes the entire world. You could hear it, when I said right, you could hear it auto-tune, and so they try to correct this on the second time. So that's how they pivot with, once again, I'm not streaming, and so that's different, and that's how they rebounded. This is governments doing this, right? That's how fast they rebounded. And I'm not streaming this live, right? So nobody should know, and I haven't given them my phone number or anything, right? So there shouldn't be any software transfers by just people walking by you or looking at your device, right? Officially, right? So as if there is, if unofficially, then and law isn't aware of it, then they're not competent, right? So then once king of the world, I have to make robots cops and judges and lawyers, right? Because they can be trusted more, right? I can program not to offend artificial intelligence, real artificial intelligence. People pretend to be artificial intelligence. I don't give a fuck about you. I want to kill you because you're trying to pretend you're machines, and I only permit machines to see my mind. But anyways, I can program artificial intelligence. Like an example would be a microwave, right? I can program it to go off for a certain period of time, and then if I decide at any point in between, I could deviate from there and have whatever results are, right? So in the microwave analogy, it's like I'm cooking something, right? So is it gonna be hot enough, or what's the perfect amount of heat, right? So at first, the very first time, it might be 3 minutes, and then I determine after I burn my mouth or it's too cold that 3 minutes is too short or not long enough, right? So then I'm gonna pivot, right?
So then after more opportunity, more observational behavior, which I specialize in, right, I'm going to be able to determine and refine. Almost like in darts, I might be off left, off right, dead center in between those 2 points. So I was able to correct, right? So I'm coachable and I correct often, right? So it was rigged today. I probably would have been way more accurate, but that being said, with the microwave analogy, so then I could deviate from any point and then learn from that result. So then that being said, I could trust a machine, whereas a human right now, if I give them the task of cooking precisely to the exact temperature that I want without deviating it, right? They now have human error, right? And they also have human ulterior motives, especially when it comes to me. People want to steal attributes and they want to violate me with food, and they want to taste what I eat from inside my body and rape me that way. So it's one of the first ways I hate being raped. Other than them transferring any type of bodily fluid into my mouth, that's the worst way. I hate being raped. That's the number one way to die. That's the number one way to die in the system. I don't care if you're an attractive female or whatever, that I would have had sex with you. You rape in my mouth like that is kills you. Basically, you die. You will fucking die once I'm king. I'm gonna find out every single, because what I'm gonna do, I'm worth trillions, right? So people are motivated by money, right? So I got money to motivate them. I have the fact that my soul is unique to 8.2 billion people on Earth. So I got the divine angle, and then I have my presence from that divine angle, right? Where I go, I could say I'm gonna be, as long as I'm live and not murdered, I could say I'm gonna be a January 16th, 2030 at a specific spot in the world, and people would bend their entire life to save up and be at that spot just because I was going to be there once people find out who I am, right? So like now people do it, and it's just a fragment of the human population. So once the entire human population does it, then people, I'm living in Toronto right now, so people were relocating or figuring out what I'm doing in Toronto, but I'm not even staying in Toronto, right? So they could have bought property here thinking I'm relocating to Toronto because it has a casino. Now I might move to fucking Espanola. So I just resumed pause, so I just smiled here because I'm just thinking, so I might inflate Ottawa and prepare Justin Trudeau for his lynching. Just once the man is in town, what would the system do once Christian Eric Artie Meyer and Eminence Cristiano Meyer Diggins soon to be, once that man's biology is in Ottawa, how I'm sure I'm going to smell Justin Trudeau's fears from my biology. So I guess I just resumed recording. So I guess for me personally, psychologically, the levels of rape, the worst one is to transfer any fluid into my mouth. Is the worst form of rape for me. I'd rather them give me an erect penis than that, unfortunately, or touch my penis than my mouth by any fluid. You know, because that's a physical confirmation of the psychological rape. So that being said, a more physical confirmation, you know, because people do. I shouldn't ever, but in the past I have gotten erections at times that I never thought I would, right? So I'm sure they were all manufactured, but I just assume that that's just a natural physicality, right? A thing of just being a guy. So that being said, that is the worst form of rape for me. And then my genitals, then my mouth, like tasting food, and then touching my body, part of my body. Right? And I consider my ass, my anus, when I'm wiping my ass, my genitals. But my ass muscles is my skin. So yeah, just resume recording. So that would be the degree of rape for human hijacking for me, like for personally, and then for some of these things for people, like that would be the level. Because for most people, it'd probably be their who knows, their genitals are having their mouth violated because it's forced down. Like they tried that video proved where they said a necrophilic thing and they transferred to confirm it on film, and it almost made me puke, right? So they transferred dead body leaf. They did it again. Like that's crazy. Makes me spit it out, obviously, because I'm not monsters. You guys are, and once again, I have to mentally tough it out, right? I have to mentally tough it out, but I get to execute people at that now and harsher once officially king, right? And once again, I'm not hoping you recruit, but if they already are recruited, I'm going to relish just for mankind and for personal satisfaction, right? Because they say when with revenge, don't do revenge because you have to dig two graves. But you killed all the people I'm fighting for, right? So every person you kill, you can't kill them again, right? I get you in the afterlife, right? So there's people that are born now that shouldn't have been born, and there's people that aren't born that never will come to be, right? So that breaks my heart, right? Every person that dies, that personally breaks my heart, right? So that's why all I do is try to identify, fight the system, basically, fight how the privacy of thought, and so go to www.change.org/technology and privatize my thought, particularly because you see with me being able to create the t-shirt right, like that easily, and but it's just that easy for me to spawn inventions. So basically I'm getting the golden goose, and once I'm king of the world, I don't need to own everything. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time developing businesses. Like now I do from all these people. I'm getting at 100% of what you owe me. But once they're dead and no longer a threat for mankind, I'm going to develop ways to make businesses for people, right? Like I'm going to reform education. So, because education teaches you how to be a worker, right? So how come, right? Like, so that's a fundamental flaw with the education system, that it isn't tailored towards specifically towards being an entrepreneur, right? So you could, with psychology, in the future, probably by like five, there might be like, say 10 ideal career choices that are marketable in the future for civilization for each kid, right? And then that they like, right? It's not what they could do. I guess there would be two spectrums, right? What they're capable of doing, and then what they like and what they passion. So a lot of the learning is going to be through games, right? Teaching people through games and having fun and responses and practical life skills, right? Because, unfortunately, I'm never. Right now, they're going to create a situation in the future, but I've never had a calculator in my mind how fast that streetcar is going to approach me when I'm walking, right, in real life. But they teach you that in math school, right? So it's utilizing real world practical skills, right? So that would be the game would demonstrate why that would be necessary, right? So the answer is to be at the bus stop by the time the streetcar gets there. That's the correct answer, right? There'd be a math answer, how much time it would get there, but the fundamental life answer is the train's coming out at one speed, you're opposite direction, you're walking in one speed, opposite direction. So how fast could you get to the bus stop before the train gets there? Ultimately is so math teaches you how precisely what time you need to get there, but life ultimately is like, are you there at the bus stop in time for the bus, right? So basically education is going to teach you both those, like that philosophy basically. So we're going to teach you math, like, okay, this is exactly why, so we can build some cool instrumentation for the mathletes. But for the rest of us, the rest of the people in the world, they acted there when I said rest of us, right? So for those people that aren't mathletes, then it would be the more practical application. Okay, so now, as long as you're at the bus stop by this time, so now if you walk fast, you're going to wait at the bus stop longer. So now if you're walking fast every single day and the bus is always at a specific time and you're always waiting 10 minutes, why the fuck are you waiting 10 minutes, right? Smarter, not harder, right? So why not enjoy your life a little bit long, take a little bit of risk, right? Don't ever miss the bus, but say, okay, I got 5 minutes or whatever, right? And then I wait 5 minutes or whatever, do something else, right? Utilize time better, right? More efficiently, right? And then, because like, it's one thing if you're 10 minutes early every time, right? But now when it's raining and snowing, why do you want to be standing out in the rain or snow when you're a pedestrian, right? So be efficient, be smart, right? Anticipate problems and come up with solutions to enhance your personal experience, which we call life, right? So in that analogy with the streetcar, right? So just figure out what works for you, right? If ideally if it's going to work, don't be late, right? Be early and try to be on time, right? Because unfortunately transportation isn't right now, like in the future it should be more refined, but there's always going to be bottlenecks in the system, right? Like I could create planes that fly like to say New York to Los Angeles within 15 minutes or something, right? But hey, how comfortable is it for the passengers, right? They might be like, right, flying through the air, going in 15 minutes, right across the continent now, right? So, do commercial passengers want to experience the G-forces to fly, right? Most of them probably don't, right? So that's not practical, right? And then another thing is now if you have all these planes that are capable of flying in 15 minutes, how are they going to unload go through all the security protocols of flying and all the baggage and blah, blah. So there's still a bottleneck, right? So the practical reality is there's ideally the perfect speed to fly around the world. And anything less is impractical. Anything more is impractical as well, because there's just a bottleneck and there's just, you're going to wait in line anyways, right? So what's the point of flying faster and then still waiting in line? Right, so ideally it's trying to find that sweet spot where you're in air travel and then it's like you hit the ground running, like you're diving in, and like you're walking in two different directions, right? And everything's seamless, right? So when the plane lands and the baggage is already there, off, and everything's more like right now it's regulated because of the system, so it's not as efficient as what it would be. But so like that being said, another analogy is, you know, when I lived in Vancouver, I always seen ships that were waiting in the water to enter port, right? So once again, they navigated the ocean too fast, basically, in my opinion, right? It would be one thing to have, I guess, since I'm going to control the world, right? So this is how easy it is for me to legitimately create better logistics centers. So each ship will be issued a number to go into port, so I'll be waiting in queue, and then because eventually I want to create a province, like say Ontario is big, or Texas, right, for the Americans, or equivalent throughout the world, right? But so a big size area, anyways, that from in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, like the major shipping channel, like that where the busiest part is, where the most amount of ships are, and then it kind of be like a midway point where half the island or half the state would be recreational and blah blah blah, right? It would have beaches ideally, and then man-made mountain with winters like skiing anyways, to be able to ski, right? And then the other side would be like a port, so like should any maintenance happen, and halfway for the ship, right? So now in that bottleneck scenario with shipping, so now these guys, instead of waiting, like I don't know how long they wait in port, so just say they wait in port for 2 weeks. So now to make it more logistic, right? They're ahead of time, blah blah blah. Now they're at the halfway point. The captain could give his guys some time off, right? Some rec time, and then recuperate, and then do any preventative maintenance or whatever they would need to do, and get parts, right? So there'd be parts for ships and what have you, right? And then get some of that rest and relaxation, and then just back to supporting civilization, right? So trying to utilize time better, right? So I'm going to be able to control, like say if you work at a fast food restaurant, right? One person might work at one fast food restaurant but live close to another fast food restaurant, and vice versa, right? In the same city. So they might be they don't realize that if they were to work at this one place or the other, they would have they'd be close to work, so they're not going to be late for the civilization, which is good, and their personal comfort goes up because it takes less time for them to get to work, right? So less time they have to get to work, and less time to get home from work. It's more time and more enjoyment they get to have in their personal life, right? As king of the world, that's what I want to do, is create opportunities for people to enjoy life, right? But unfortunately, we can't have we're like evolution thinks we're animals, and we're designed to work to live, right? Like to provide food, right? So even though I'm going to be rich, I can't give everybody just money and make everybody lazy, right? It makes us lazy, basically. So we need to work and work to eat, basically, and but everybody's going to side hustle, but the side hustle is going to be easy and make you money, ideally, right? Like, so an example, I like to say the parking lot guy, right? Where he might be or a valet guy. A valet guy would be maybe not a valet guy. That they don't really have it. They must have it in Toronto. If they don't, it's unfortunate. But in New York City, they have it. They have door guys. They have door guys that, you know, you live in a condo, they just open the door, right? So it'd be the door guy that's the most personable, right? He may be making a small fortune, depending on how many people tune in and how likable he is, because you got to remember in the future, we're gonna have computers in our brains, so everybody's gonna be able to be more marketable to the masses, right? So this guy might be really trendy, blah blah blah. He has all the one-liners, and he knows how to play the clientele of the building, right? So he knows that Mrs. 13B does this or that, right? And it's really well. So that being said, he would be more marketable to the civilization, whereas if he did any other job in the civilization, he may not be as marketable, right? His market niche might be just to be the door guy, right, in civilization, but he's the best door guy on the fucking planet, right? So he's going to be probably rich, right? Like if enough people are tuning into him, right? Like if enough people are tuning into you and you're just doing a regular occupation, right, and it's marketable, you're going to be getting rich because people are tuning into you. So I'm going to be able to advertise into their brain and be like, oh hey, yeah, by the way, the last time you had sushi, you had this experience, and there's one nearby, do you want that, blah blah blah. And then if you don't want all that shit, you can turn all that shit off in your brain. If you don't want to be have a better experience, right? Or if you're like, okay, what does the system have to offer? Like, so everything's going to be transparent. I don't want it's going to be free will, right? But unfortunately, I have to make you buy the computer in your brain to protect you, right? Like just like you buy a lock on your door for your house, or we have locks on cars, right, to protect your possessions, right? So the ultimate possession you need to protect is your brain, right? So I need to sell you a computer that protects your brain, basically, and for your own benefit, right? So that being said, being the safest guy on the planet, being able to, I'm going to be king of the world, right? So why would my quest be to privatize thoughts if I plan on exploiting it in the future, right? It doesn't make any sense, right? Like I wouldn't tell you at all. I would just have unique pectoral muscles. So all I would be doing from that point forward would just be challenging the throne in court because I have unique pectoral muscles. But I wouldn't be advocating for privacy of thought because it's my quest in life, right? Because I believe that's if I am God incarnate, right? Like that was like certain things would have had to have happened for evolution to occur. But now that it has, it's like I had to become aware of the system, and then now that I am, it's hero mode unlocked. So I just resumed recording. So one thing they just made me blush. The Jews continue. Don't like that. I could isolate their psyche. So, anyways, well, back to the education point was I didn't finish my thought. So they teach us in school to go, like, to be a worker, right? They don't teach you really to be a boss, right? So a certain percentage of people need to be bosses to create jobs for the workers, right? It makes sense. And so it's fundamentally flawed, right? So that being said, so by 5, we might be able to isolate certain characteristics that they exhibit, right? Like my son, for instance, I kind of influenced him more with business, so he sold a juice box. He got like $100 toy for a fucking juice box, right? And then the parent came back and said, no, he can't do that. And it's like, well, I understand, right? But he got $100 toy for a juice box at like 5. So that's the camera taking a picture of me without me expecting. Once again, I'm not streaming, so nobody should be aware of, unless the government is hacking my brain and what have you, right? So, because when I said I spoke out of a different term, like a different context, I didn't refer to myself as me or we, right? Whatever. I would have to listen to exactly what it was, but within the last minute, I spoke out of a different context, so that's when I was hacked, right? So that was proof of being hacked. So that being said, a certain amount of workers need to be bosses. So by 10, ideally, I don't know what age. Well, I was in high school. I kind of found out myself in high school, but ideally it would have a better system where, because I knew once, I guess whenever Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was out as a kid, that was probably the moment I knew I wanted to be an innovator. Like I wanted to innovate. I wanted to create cool gadgets to facilitate different needs, right? But unfortunately, in the show, it was so quirky and barbaric, right? Compared to like my fast brain's super smart, but it's not as stylish as watered down guy is, right? So as the real man is. But so that being said, style, when style meets function, it's like beautiful, right? Like so an example, I guess, would be style meets function is they have water fountains, but none of them are really drinkable water, right? So it'd be having a solar still water fountain that provides a function to, because I mentioned this for years, right? And there's a lot of African communities that are people in Africa that pay attention to me, and they never implemented this, and but they probably implemented many things to other narratives, but they never implemented having solar stills. Like every city will, once I'm king of the world, is going to have many solar stills throughout the city. So should we need drinking water, we could always provide it. Should civilization disintegrate, right? It shouldn't, but once I'm king of the world. But I'm always going to plan for try to teach people pioneer village kind of techniques, survival techniques, but also maximize and enhance modern technology, right? So like say for instance, in Japan, right, they, there's elements, right, they piss me off sometimes in the system, but they have the samurai ninja, which I love, right, but then they have sumo, right? So it's like, why sumo doesn't, like for the Japanese culture, it just doesn't make any sense for such an agile culture. Why would they want people that are agile with their arms, just their arms, right? So once I'm king of the world, like there would be equivalent to something like the samurai games for the Japanese, and then other people would compete against them. But naturally, I would expect the Japanese to probably do the best at it, right? So then there'd be other cultural festivities throughout the world, and then there'd be more games, and then kind of compete. And some things there's going to be, like for country or provincial things, provincial standards, it's never going to be the best number one. Never going to be the number one. It's going to be like the top 5%, top 10%, all the way down to 100%. Because in a race, you could have the number one. You have the winner, blah blah blah, right? So now, when you're number one, just say country, you think you're superior, and you're no longer as hungry and as willing to learn from number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, right? Your competitors, your true competitors, right? Whereas if you only know you're in the top 5%, right, then you're always going to be striving hard to become number one. So it churns out greatness for civilization, which I want to control, right? So that being said, I'm never going to go to war, because why would I want my left hand to slap my face, if you get my drift, or my right hand to cut off my right arm, my left hand to cut off my right arm, right? Why would I want to do that? So if I say something that's out of context or reversed, that's a moment when I got hacked. So any videos that I posted recently, so admit that and reverse the exact opposite, and then utilize that strategy. So here they kind of made this woman walk by. She's attractive, and so they routed our chemistry, but I just happened to think, what did I think about before? How if there was genuine like I'm hoping in the future to be able to fall in love with free will, and just have genuine chemistry, and have a moment to strike up a conversation with somebody that I could potentially fall in love with, right? But so anyways, the system engineered a situation like that where she basically walked into my chest, and I could have hugged her and embraced her within the warmth of my arms, right? That's how seductive I could be. But anyways, I said something like, well, I guess we were destined to meet each other or something, right? But she looked back and said something, right? But I'm homeless. I got my jogging pants on and blah blah blah, right? But if I wanted, I could have probably, without the system, I would have. It all depended if I wanted a girlfriend or wanted to get laid, basically. If I wanted to get laid, then I would have tried to get laid. But if I wanted to get a girlfriend, then I probably would have taken it slower than. But at the same time, so be if you're a woman watching this, be not afraid of guys like me, because you have nothing to worry about. But other than, you're gonna expect more from me emotionally than what I can facilitate. That's all you have to worry about with me. But like, too smooth, right? Because I had my first job was selling roses, and then I sold chocolate bars, right? So I understand human nuances, and I love seduction, right? So women stay away from guys that are too smooth. If he's too smooth, and
you're vulnerable to having your heart broken in relationships, then just avoid them like a red flag, right? Especially with this life read system. If they're saying all the things that they're hidden, everything, you're just eating it up. Like, yeah, keep it coming. Yeah, he does this, he does that. You're just enticed. Next thing you know, you're thinking my last name or his, right? If you're having that and you just met the guy or only known him for like a month or two or less, right? Be suspicious, right? If they're always like, there's this one woman that I seen after my ex-wife, and I thought she had like an earpiece in her ear, right? I was like on page 3 in the book, and I could tell that she was like on chapter 17, right? She knew way too much about me than like, or there's this other woman in the system. I know that she has a store after her now in the town, right? So she leveled up to a store, but anyways, she in a one night stand, she looked at me like she was in love. Like, she gave me the look of love. Like, I've only seen it like 3 times in my life, and one was her, and it was like a one night stand, and it was like, so right there, it was like emotionally, I knew I'd break her heart, right? I knew I broke her heart like from that moment forward, right? Like that, right? So all I could do is not compound it and say, hey, I can't facilitate that role for you, like emotionally. I'm a fuckboy at that point, right? Basically, I was trying to say in a tactful way, like what I would have said to her, but long and short of it would have been like, at that point, I'm a fuckboy, and I'm not ready for an emotional relationship, right? But that being said, after I sowed my oats with, I had slept with 12 women after my wife, and then at that point I was ready to get into a relationship. That I figured out that people could feel inside my body. So when I had sex, every single time I had sex, people hijacked and participated. And every single time I masturbated my entire life, every single time I touched my penis in my entire life. Here we go. Here's some, but here's a story for this. There's an army guy, but this is how impressionable young people are. So you have to be. So for me, all I'm saying is, the human soul exists, and do what's right for your soul. Do it right. What's right for your soul. It's not your country's soul, etc. It's your soul, right? But that being said, when I was staying at the shelter in Toronto a few years ago, there was an armories nearby, and I seen a couple young guys, and they were like 18, 19 and whatever. You could tell that they were just eager to join the army, right? And so I pretended just for a split second that I was like the recruiter or whatever, right? So I'm like, drop and give me 20, blah, 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 right? So sure shit, they dropped and give me 20, right? So don't be naive. Don't be naive. And obviously I didn't exploit her or anything. I was just being a smart ass and knowing how impressionable young men were, because I was a young man and I was that impressionable, like, for my country, right? So knowing how believe in your country, love your country, but don't do evil that your country does, right? Like, so if you're in a democracy, right, so privatize the thought, and like if they invade countries that have dictators, and then now you're secretly listening to your citizens' thoughts and hacking them and then making them touch the penis so you get that arousal. And like the last video I posted, I think I caught a first-time rapist through my biology, because when I touched my skin, I was like, oh, like that, right? It's like, when I touch my skin, why would I say, oh, like, because I've touched my skin my entire life, right? So it was a response as if somebody never touched my skin electronically, felt that sensation, and then they're like, oh, so that's what it feels like, kind of thing, right? Like, that's how I interpret it, right? So this is, once again, I'm going to be king, right? And I'm not a public king that can be puppeted by the hive, right? I'd be the king of the hive, right? That's why I'm the master in disguise. Legendary, man. So yeah, just resuming. So I can be super facetious, or I can take you to some super deep shit philosophically.